Next up, let's catch up with the news from the world of entertainment. And wow, do we have a bizarre story this week. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg has been suspended from The View for 2 weeks following comments about the Holocaust. Let's set this up. Watch this.
ABC News suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks in response to her inflammatory remarks about the Holocaust. ABC News President Kim Godwin saying in a statement, effective immediately, I am suspending Whoopi Goldberg for 2 weeks for her wrong and hurtful comments. While Whoopi has apologized, I've asked her to take time to reflect and learn about the impact of her comments. The entire ABC News organization stands in solidarity with our Jewish colleagues, friends, family, and communities.
If you're going to do this, then let's be truthful about it, because the Holocaust isn't about race.
On Monday's show, the host of ABC's The View inaccurately claimed the Holocaust was not related to race.
It's not about race. It's not about race.
What is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Goldberg appearing to double down on the Colbert Show that night.
The American experience tends to be based on skin.
Yes. And so that is what race means to me. When you talk about being a racist, I was saying you can't call this racism. This was evil. This wasn't based on the skin. You couldn't tell who was Jewish. They had to delve deeply to figure it out.
Then tweeting an apology saying in part, the Jewish people around the world have always had my support and that will never waver. I'm sorry for the hurt I have caused. And the next day opening The View with this.
I said that the Holocaust wasn't about race, and it was instead about man's inhumanity to man. But it is indeed about race, because Hitler and the Nazis considered Jews to be an inferior race. Now, words matter, and mine are no exception. I regret my comments, as I said, and I stand corrected. I also stand with the Jewish people, as they know, and y'all know, because I've always done that.
All right, remember, this is Whoopi Goldberg. Remember. So our entertainment headline for this week is Discrimination and Cancel Culture. What does Whoopi Goldberg's suspension mean to all of us in the LGBTQ plus community? What do y'all think about what we're watching here?
We can't forget that ABC is owned by Disney. Walt Disney was a notorious, if I'm remembering my history, a notorious anti-Semite. So there's a little bit of irony in this situation. But my goodness, she was so forthcoming, and I believe her apology. There was nothing intentional about. She misspoke. It was simply that. It was not an intentionally hurtful comment.
The show is called The View, and you can't have your own view, right? That's basically what I take from it. You know, she has done everything right. She has apologized on her own show, Twittered about it, gone on Jimmy Kimmel, and has said, I misspoke. Yet she is still being punished for it. Let's think about Piers Morgan, or let's think about Sharon Osbourne. They got fired.
Or Tucker Carlson every single night.
Or Tucker Carlson every single night. People say horrible things about our community and still get back on broadcast television every night.
I think the big difference is with cancel culture, there needs to be the opportunity to educate yourself and rectify the situation, which is what I think Whoopi did. In comparison to Sharon Osbourne and Piers Morgan and other people on television who have doubled down on their comments, not taken the opportunity to listen to other people unless it's through their own biased lens.
What do y'all think ABC was trying to accomplish? I mean, this process of, it was lightning speed. This is not, we're going to evaluate, we're going to talk about it, we're going to have meetings, boom, instantaneously you're suspended for 2 weeks. To give her time to consider after the comments that she made repeatedly in various forums. What was ABC's motivation?
Well, I think their motivation is to figure out what they're going to do next with Whoopi's chair. She won't be back. I'll make that prediction right now. I don't think she'll be back. I think she'll say that it's going to be the politician's version, or the politician version of, I've decided to spend more time with my family. I think ABC wanted to give them be able to give themselves like a little space. maybe next week, Whoopi will decide she has decided to retire, and ABC will try to
my goodness,
jack
that
up their
didn't
ratings.
even cross my mind, and that would be tragic.
And it's the truth. And you know how bad that is? Because this is Whoopi Goldberg. She has played so many gay roles in so many movies. She has represented us on so many times, gone for bat for us. You know, in 2017, she got the GLAAD Media Award. I mean, this is Whoopi Goldberg here.
She marched in the 1987 March on Washington at the front of the line. I mean, yes, this is wrong. This is wrong. ABC is wrong.
I fully disagree. I definitely think she'll be back. Whoopi Goldberg is such a force on The View to be reckoned with. She is such good representation for the Black community, the female community, and as an ally to the LGBTQ community. I think that it's a lot like the NBA. You're going to bench your point guard. You're not going to take him off the team.
You know, Friday night, let me just draw a different comparison. Bill Maher, on his show Friday night, talked about basically the crazy left and said the left has commandeered American thought in terms of how extreme we have gotten. And he draws a contrast to the extreme right, that we on the left have our own Tucker Carlson crazy. And he has been killed for it. And his point to it is that this is proof of what's going on in the world. You believe truth based on your perspective of truth. And it can't be conversational. We can't talk among ourselves anymore because our truth is already established, and who we listen to and who we believe are only those people that are saying exactly what we're saying. And everyone else needs to be canceled. And that's Bill Maher. And people are pouring in to go, Bill Maher is too conservative. He's been canceled by HBO, by ABC, the exact same network as The View, for his very controversial views because he was too liberal. Mm-hmm. And now he's saying we're canceling people left and right. What do y'all think about what is going on in America? Have we jumped off the cliff?
No, I think it's a very different discussion because people are very confused about our First Amendment right. You do have the freedom of speech to say different things that are your opinions. You do not, however, have the right to the platform to say them on a live international television network. You do not have the right to the platform of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You have the right to your opinion, but you also have the right to the consequences that come along with that.
Do y'all agree with that observation?
It's true. Yeah, that is what the First Amendment is. The First Amendment only says the government can't prosecute you for saying things, but we don't have to give you a platform. If I came up here and said terrible, horrible things, I wouldn't be back on the show tomorrow or next Wednesday, which I know is still not a guarantee anyway.
Yeah.
And you know what that is? Free market capitalism.
Yeah.
Well, I always think about the term politically correct. They always talk that, and how the right likes to throw that back at us, that we're not PC enough. And this seems like just another phase in the PC world, this cancel culture.
Does that mean where we're sitting in 2022, we're actually worse off than we were 5 years ago? Trump came in 2016. We're worse today than before Trump came into office. And this may not be necessarily tagged to Donald Trump anymore. This is who we are.
Well, he opened the gates.
Okay, I can see that. Remember, Bill Maher's show that got canceled and him getting canceled at ABC was called Politically Incorrect. Yeah. He told everybody, wait, if you watch me, you're not going to like what you watch because this is incorrect political, conceptual, free speech, and was canceled for it. Thoughts?
I love conversation that makes us uncomfortable.
That was a big portion of his conversation.
Again, they're not entitled to a platform to have that open discussion, but how are we going to learn anything if we don't listen to each other and have an open and educated debate?
Short of the issue of blame everything on Donald Trump. Okay, let's take Donald Trump off the table. Banning books, banning speech, outing students in Arizona that teachers will be required to call your parent to say, did you know that your son is a fag? Which is what Arizona is getting ready to do. This whole wave of what we're watching in America, of where America is moving, why is this happening?
Well, I think maybe people thought things have moved too quickly in one direction or another, and maybe this is a backlash to that. Unfortunately, a lot of heads rolled during that time.
Well, and I think also we got to remember, just because Trump leaves doesn't mean the after effects aren't still being felt. He gave voice and he gave legitimacy to a vast swath of bigoted, closed-minded, terrible people that now feel empowered to go to school board meetings and request books be taken down or demand that books be taken down, that they can go to state legislatures and basically just use transgendered kids as their kickball. He gave them voice, and just because he's gone doesn't mean they're going to shut the F up.
Yeah.
Anyone scared where we're going?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
No.
You're not? Why?
Because we're in the middle of a generational shift in terms of education and power. It's the same thing that happened with boomers going and discussing with Gen X and then millennials. These are the people that are coming forward and finally honing in on their voice and their representation. And it's the same with Gen Z. They are educating themselves. They are by far open to being the most educated due to the internet and due to the access to this education and to all of these things that they can read, hear, watch. And forgive me for saying the phrasing, old people are scared of that. They are scared of that status quo changing from what they're used to because they're not used to it, because they're so scared. We are so frightened of what's unknown. But the thing is, it's already known to the younger millennials and Gen Zers.
Heard loud and clear. Last question: is it going to get worse before it gets better?
Yes.
You've said it's going to get better. Millennials and Gen Zers are actually going to help save us, but is it going to get worse before better? What's going to happen next?
Well, they can only save us if they become active, if they're registered to vote, if they're taking part in civics, in civic life. If
Will
that happens,
We don't know.
I don't know. I'm not one of them. I hope they certainly hope they will. Last night we saw some really great young people speaking out. Mm-hmm. So there's hope for that. But wow, I don't know what it's going to take to get
This
them
is
to
a
do it.
really, really important conversation, illustrated by Whoopi Goldberg, because likely, in most instances, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, she did everything right. Everything right. We know that Whoopi Goldberg is not a racist. She is not discriminatory. She has spoken up for every marginal community in America. She misspoke at worst. And now ABC is considering canceling her.
I think she's being discriminated against, if you really think about it. She really is. I mean, she could take this moment as a teachable moment, and they are not allowing her to do that. She could do a lot more good with this.
We will watch this story closely. LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ+